All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm here with my boy Philip Kampa. Phil, say what's up.
What's up?
And we are doing a hat market watch. So I'm a very simple man, right? My community asked me for hat content. I give you guys hat content. You know, I'm not the biggest enthusiast of hat format, right? Like, I'm not somebody who's like telling everybody to go play it, but it is the new hot thing right now, and everybody seems to be loving it. The people who do actually, you know, like that format really love that format. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I tell people all the time on my podcast and everything I do, enjoy whatever you want to enjoy. You should be allowed to do that. If this format makes you happy, by all means. I'm not telling people hat format is terrible and that you should be playing Edison. I'm not like that. If you want to play goats, I'll let the goat players play their format. Please let us Edison players play our format, and then let the hat people do their thing. But I did want to do a market watch because for people who want to get into the format in real life and not just dueling book, you will need to know what some of the cards cost. And surprisingly, despite what I was led to believe about the buyouts and stuff, the cards for hat format are also extremely cheap. But where it gets expensive is where you would imagine max rarity, and that is just going to be like that, I think, for every retro format. So in this video, we will not be covering max rarity yet. We'll do a market watch for that later. But for just like, if you wanted to get a deck, right? If you wanted to get a Spellbook deck or a Geargia deck or whatever, I want to kind of cover some of those cards. And so far we've done a couple videos on our channel, just covering those decks that are they're actually at the top. Like Spellbooks and Geargia are both two of the best decks. And they're also really cheap. So let's just get into it. Right here, we have Spellbook of Secrets. And as you can see, none of them are particularly expensive, right? In terms of the ones that I would play if I'm just trying to get into the format. You got Ultra, you got Common, and you got another Ultra. So it looks like it's around $2, $2.50 at most, even if you want the original.
Yeah, the Spellbook engine is all fairly cheap. I think the only one with only one printing or two printings is Spellbook Tower, but it might have gotten reprinted. I don't know if we pulled that one up.
Yeah,
but,
we do have Spellbook Tower. Yep, Spellbook Tower
okay,
is
yeah,
right
only
here.
two printings.
Yes, so it comes secret and gold, and I feel like gold is cringe, personally. Like, I'm not a fan of gold. If you like gold, that's your prerogative, but gold for me is cringe. So for me, it would have to be secret rare, and luckily, they're not too bad. Lightly play, you can get lightly play, you can get near mint unlimited for like $10. So you can get them for $10, and I think you only play 2 of it anyway, right?
I don't think they ever went to 3. Yeah. I mean, I'm probably spending $20 to get 2 secrets also instead of playing the golds, because, you know, just Spellbooks as a whole is just such a pretty deck.
It is.
And like, if you're not mixing it, at least just don't make it gold.
Yeah, I don't know why this card is so low res, like this image here, but
that
anyway,
bothers me too when
TCG
player
weird.
does that.
It's only like, out of all the market watches we've done so far, all the cards we've covered, this is probably the worst image I've seen so far, just in terms of like the way it looks. But anyway, that's not the point. We also have Spellbook of the Master, which is also, so if you want just entry level, $1, right? You can get them for $1. You do play 3 of, does this deck play 2 or 3? It plays like 2 or 3 of this card. And
I want to say it was 3 secret, 3 master. I could be wrong though.
That kind of sounds right. It is one of the better cards in the deck. And then you have the, you know, max rarity version of it that just happens to be here because it's secret rare, and for whatever reason, ultis are not grouped in with everything else, but secret rares are, and the secret rare of this happens to be the max rarity. It's around $8 market price. I don't think that that's too bad. So I think if you know you're going to be a hat player, right? You know, you're like, this is the deck that I'm going to be playing. I think that now is probably a good time because you can get them for 10s if you want secrets, and I think that's really good.
That's for unlims too. Let's peep in on some first edition for that.
I'll see. Phil's toxic. He wants to know. He wants to know.
You gotta go, because some people will like min max rarity. Yeah. Like I was talking with Enraged Peacock, and I'm like, oh, you want to get some Mermail cards? I was like, do you just want, like, you know, the cheapest baseline? He's like, come on, don't do me like that, man. Don't give me no gold stuff. Don't give me no. He's like, super rares look clean. Don't give me any rares or commons. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
These aren't bad though. They're $14.
Yeah,
so
13, 14.
You might as well just pay the 14, I feel like, at that point. Oh wait, these are Italian. But even right here, you might as well pay the 14, I feel like, for the first edition at that point, right? Like, this is actually really reasonable for one of the best decks in the format. Like, this deck stomps Geargia, stomps Bujin. I know it has some bad matchups out there, but the matchups that it's good against, it's really good against. So I think this is one of the better decks. I'm gonna close this tab. I'll close this one as well. It's Priestess, my girl. I love this. So I actually have a top with Prophecy. I played the World of Prophecy deck back in like 2013 after the Dragon Lords got hit the first time and the sort of babies went away. I think all the regular ones They were still at 3, but yeah, the babies went away.
The first iteration of Mythic Rulers came out around then.
Yeah, it was YCS Toronto 2013, I want to say, after Nationals, and I was playing World of Prophecy Spellbook deck, and Priestess was secret rare at the time. I don't know if it came in any of a rarity, but you can get them now for nothing, like 50 cents and $2 for these 2 versions, the ultra rares. So they have 2 different copies of ultra rare, but you can also get, here we are, $9, I guess, for damage, which no one damage is a meme. Let me actually filter this by lightly play it real quick for you guys, because no one is buying damage cards, I hope, because you can't play them in the tournament. So lightly played unlimited, you can get them for like $17. This is actually one of the more expensive cards if you want the original version of it. And lightly played first edition, I think if this format pops off though, these cards are going to be a lot more. So seeing them right now, I think getting 3 Priestess for like $75 is actually not that terrible, if I'm being completely honest with you.
If more tournaments start happening, let's say even, Ultimate Time Wizard starts catering to stuff other than Edison, Priestess could easily be one of the cards that goes to $100 per copy.
Yeah, I'm just
secrets.
Exactly. I'm just saying that right now it's very early days. I don't think that this is that bad. I could be mistaken. Maybe the format will age in a way where Prophecy is somehow not good anymore. But right now, it is definitely one of the best decks in the format still, even with just 1 copy of Fate. But yeah, okay. So let's move on. Blue Boy. Everyone knows this card is Blue Boy. This is Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. Also extremely cheap. The ultimate rare is not listed here, so we're not going to even cover that. But if you look, it comes in common, which, that... I feel like there's no reason to buy the common if the other ones that are foil are just $1, right? Like you can get this thing for $1. I feel like there's no reason for you to buy the common of it. So you can get like a nice looking one for literally 70 cents. Near mint first edition, 70 cents. Yeah, we'll circle back and do like me, because I know Phil loves max rarity. We will circle back and do a ulti first market watch to just show how crazy
we'll do the bank buster version.
Yeah. We'll spin the block on that, but for now we're just going to cover like I say, we're trying to cover entry level. Okay, so I can close this
because I'm over here on my other screen looking over, and I'm just like ulti magicians are $60 right now. What the hell?
Stop. Save it for the next video, Phil. All right, so Geargia armor. This card is in one of the best decks as well. Geargia is definitely one of the top 5 decks of hat format. It was pretty much back then as well, like an actual 2014. This is one of the best decks, and it still continues to be one of the best decks. I was seeing a tournament where Geargia went undefeated in Swiss. This is the week of September 9th. So at this time, there was a tournament in Format Library, and Geargia was 6-0, being piloted by one of the best Edison players, James ARK, and this is what I was talking about. He went undefeated in his 2nd ever hat tournament playing Geargia. He's just playing in hat format now. And yeah, this deck is really good. Luke Feeney also was on the channel to pilot this deck because he did really well with it actually back in the day. He's actually the person who's responsible for like popularizing the deck in 2014 as well. So give him credit there. But these are not expensive. If you want commons, you can get them for $1. If you want the super, which I highly recommend if they're only going to be like, I don't know, $9, I don't think that this is that bad for super. This is the max rarity of the card too, it just so happens. So like, again, I don't think that this is that bad. This is one of the absolute best decks in the format. It's also extremely consistent. It's like Hero Beat, but if Hero Beat was good, like that's kind of what this is of the format. It's very simple.
If Hero Beat can Stratos every turn.
Yeah, like if Hero Beat, I mean, it kind of does with E-Call and Rhoda and all that stuff, but it's just not good. This deck is actually broken. Like setting armor is actually one of the best plays in the format because Moralltach doesn't pop it only pops face ups, and it's just a good deck. It's a very solid deck. It makes all of rank 4 spam, or not rank 4. No, they are ranks, right? Yeah, rank 4 spam.
Yeah, rank 4.
Yeah, I almost confused myself with like Lake Monsters, even though I don't know anything about that. But yeah, this deck rank 4 spams, can summon Abyss Dweller against a lot of matchups where that's good. It makes Exciton Knight, Silent Honor ARK, all those cards. So really, really solid deck. I don't think this is a bad price for supers. I'm gonna move on. So this guy, Geargia Accelerator, it only comes foil in Astro Pack 2. The other ones are commons. You can get them for nothing. Like somebody should just give them to you if they have them in their bulk, I feel like.
So a lot of these, there was the Geargia starter deck and or structure deck. And that's where a lot of the common printing. So you can literally get, people just have these laying around. I found so many, just one of every copy, just in a row in random bulk boxes I had, because whoever I bought the bulk from had the deck and they were like, I want these 3 cards out of it. And then they're like, okay. And then they shoved it in a box and never looked at it again.
You know what's interesting? I have unopened Geargia starter decks for whatever reason. I have no idea why I have them, but they've just been in my apartment for years, like for several years clearly. They're just unopened. I don't know why. Every time I look at the back of it, because it randomly has like gadgets in it and stuff like that, I'll look at it.
There was the Geargia Augur was the card that came in the structure deck, and everybody was like, "Oh, how can we break this?" And then it just never did anything.
Yeah, I stare at the contents on the back, and I think, should I open these? And then I just put them down because they don't seem correct to open. There's nothing I really need. But maybe now, maybe I can start off with Geargia. It's one of the easier decks to play. It's one of the best decks to play. I feel like if you want to start this format, I should say this is kind of your Blackwing deck, right? Because this guy, you know, the armor is like Whirlwind, and it's really simple and straightforward to play this deck. But at a high level, it's more difficult, just like Blackwings is. Like at a low level, Blackwings is just like, oh, summon attack. But then at a high level, you get people like Ludo and all those guys who are really good HT19 in Edison format. If you know those guys, and they are insane with the deck, they show that it can go all the way. So Geargia is like that. I kind of see it as, it's a very simple deck, right? Very entry level type of deck, but it still has a high ceiling if you're good. Like if you're good, you can take this deck far.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, so here's Rescue Cat in disguise.
Yeah, rescue Rabbit Trap.
Yeah, this card's insane. Gear. So this is a 3 of in the deck. This is honestly the card that I think makes this deck so scary, especially if they go first. We were talking about in our Gear video how there's a huge disparity with going first in every format of Yu-Gi-Oh where you draw going first. That's first of all. But also with Geargia specifically in hat format, going first is insane because you have all these wiretaps, Geargia gears, setting armor. Like I think the deck jumps an entire tier when it goes first. Not even kidding. And when it goes second, it's still solid. But like having to set traps and a monster when you go second is never going to be the fantasy, I would say. But yeah, going first with this deck is, I think it just puts it in a separate tier. Like I'm not even kidding. I think go first Geargia will be like in its own tier for me. Like it, you know, with other decks that are really, really powerful in the format. But this card is worth nothing. So
yeah, super cheap, super well populated as far as listings go. You have 100 of the original, almost 100 of the Mega Pack Super, and then almost 100 of the common. Probably because people are just buying the commons. You know, you're always gonna have like, you know, the people who are just like, I want the intro cards. And I feel like the other day when I looked at Gear, there was like 150, or not 150, like maybe like 120, 130 listings for the common. But even down to 81, that's still very like healthy, populated. We're not going to see it start to spike anytime soon.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think this is a fair price for a card that you need 3 of. Okay, and then the X deck monster, which is probably the most important part of this, is Gigant X. So this thing, if you want secret, $9 market price, but the other rarities are literally less than $1. You can even get foil versions, super rare copies for $1 exactly, which I think is fine. And I like super rares. Whenever the low rarity is super rare, I'm happy. When it's like gold or something weird like that, I'm not a fan. Even ultra, I'm not too big on. I prefer, unless it's old school ultra, but like to the point, super rares just look cool to me in Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I just like super rares. I always have. I think that these for $1 is fine. This guy, I'm curious. We won't cover this in our max rarity video, but we will cover it now since we're here. I'm just curious.
They're sitting like 40s.
They are. So this is already on the higher side of things. This is probably the most expensive card we looked at so far. If you want a playable copy, because again, no one's touching damaged. Moderately played, I would even argue, is like a little skeptical. But near mints, yeah, around $40, 35, $40. There's these 2 for 35. If somebody wants to snatch these up before it's too late. This card will get expensive. If this format takes off, this card will be expensive in max rate. That's just what's going to happen. What are you pulling up, Phil? You pulling out some out of your...
Oh, I was looking because I was like, I know I have at least 4, but I literally have one just sitting on my desk.
First edition,
and I'm just like, okay,
rare.
cool.
Yep.
First Ed Secret, just hanging out on
just
the desk.
chilling.
Yeah, and then I found a couple copies of something else that we're gonna look at in a moment too. So I'm just like, oh, that's great. I forgot that I went through all this the other night.
Okay, so here is a card, Artifact Moralltach. This is like the quintessential hat card, I feel like. The format is literally called hat because of hands, artifacts, trap tricks. And the artifacts are so broken. They basically just came out around this time. And literally, Moralltach is insane. It's a card that doesn't target. It pops a face-up card when it's summoned, when it's special summoned or whatever. And yeah, it's just a really strong card. It's also 5 stars. It's light. It's 2100 attack. So it's like a Cyber Dragon on Crag. You could bluff with it by setting it in your back row. It's amazing. If you don't know anything about hat format, this is a card you definitely need to learn how to play with, play against, understand it. And yeah, I just think that this is a very important one. Luckily, it looks like they're extremely cheap for even the max rarity of it. Yeah, like no matter
what. It was
what.
reprinted as early as I believe 2023, or 2022, whenever the structure deck Trap Tricks came out. It got another common printing in addition to the OTS one.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely well populated card. The supers are going to be the only ones that are going crazy, as you can see with the difference in listings. Only 16 listings and 13 listings on both of the supers. But I just like how the Primal Origin specifically, like that set just had such cool looking foils. Yeah, and I don't know what it is about them. It's just like a clean super rare. And, you know, I'm probably paying 15 a piece if I didn't already have my set.
Yeah, you can get first edition copies of the original for...
Well, they're like 12, 13, and then it goes clean to 20 a pop.
Yeah.
This
is going to become a $20 card for sure.
The other day when I'm sitting there checking, I'm like, okay, the commons aren't worth anything, so I just, pull them out and sell those for like 50 cents a piece, whatever. And then I looked at the supers and I was like, oh, they're 11. Okay, well, let me start digging for these now too. So glad I pulled those out.
Yeah, no, very, very good. All right, that's Moralltach. Then we have Artifact Sanctum, which I can't even tell what the original is right here because they're all so cheap. Primal Origin, right, is the original. Yeah, all of these are... First of all, why is almost every single one of them, like, there's 3 ultra rares? What the hell? Why would they do that? I don't understand.
Yeah, so the Primal Origin, the Mega 10, and then it got reprinted again as an ultra in one of the all foil sets, the one that the 10,000 Dragon came in 2020, I believe, Battles of Legend Armageddon. Easily accessible common from the Trap Trick starter deck as well, and the original super ultra firsts are in buyout mode.
Yeah, these are gone. So this.
But at first that doesn't matter. Click that unlimited, and you can get some, I believe, for about $3, $4.
Yeah, that's so true. Wow.
Until they go to 7 or 8, but still, I
might my concern. I guess I'm not really concerned because there were like 5 different versions of this card. If you want the original, though, there are almost no listings. Whether that's unlimited or first edition, the listings are scarce. Yeah, the listings are just very scarce. Well, can I go back? Is it gonna... Okay. The listings are scarce for the original, but you have 143 of an ultra rare right here. You have 66 of an ultra rare right here. So there's no excuse really, and like nobody's really gonna know if yours is the original or not. I feel like across the table, unless this one looks dark as hell. I don't know if that's just the picture. It's probably the picture. But
it's the picture, and then it's also got the newer card frame on it too. So the text box is a little bigger, and it just kind of looks a little deeper. Yeah. The mega packs, like I was complimenting Primal Origin, the mega packs for that next year kind of looked, almost the same, where it was just like a really clean printing. So between Primal Origin and 2015 mega pack, there's not too much of a physical difference. They're really only going to know if they like pick it up and read it. So.
Gotcha. All right, we can move right along. Artifact Ignition, of course, had to be the next card up. So I love this card. I think the art on this is insane. Like when I first started playing, any kind of hat, fat, whatever deck, just the art of this card, it looks so good. And it's MST with extra stuff going on. Like it's MST on crack for no reason. It's just such a good card. One of the things that people don't know, I'm pretty sure this is how it works, but like if you have 5 back row and one of them is Ignition, I don't think you can activate it because there's no spot for the card to go in. Like you can't, or I should say, to be more specific, you can't activate it to pop one of your opponent's cards when you play Ignition because there's no spot for you to set a artifact from your deck because that card's, Ignition's still resolving. It's still in that spot, and you have 4 other back rows face down. So that's one of the things that is a common misplay that I've seen people make back in 2014. I'm sure that on Dueling Book people will make that same kind of thing just because the format is still very young in terms of competitiveness. Not to say that there aren't people who've been playing it competitively, but it's obviously a very small scene. And yeah, Ignition just has just know your rollings with this card. It's actually an amazing card though. It's also really cheap. So let's see the max rarity of the original
7 listings. Can't wait to see where it's at. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I was a person that knew I was going to play this format, I would buy these for 30. I would buy all 3 of these for 30. I think that is like a solid investment. This is the max rate of the card. Its first edition is near mint. It can only go up, right? Like I think that this is a card that's played in so many decks. I would snatch these up for 30 personally. I don't know if I'm speaking from a privileged place there, but I just feel like $30 for that. At worst, I feel like you can sell them for 15s if the format even gets slightly more popular.
Yeah, so. If it goes a little hype will go a long way as far as price goes.
Yeah.
The secrets from the Battles of Legend Armageddon actually don't look horrible either. either. In
I
person,
like them. Yeah,
they're really cool. And then just that set, I don't know if like certain ones came from like factories in Europe or not, but just every time I see cards from that set, they just look almost like Euro English. And
very dark.
I don't know if I've ever seen Euro English, because honestly, I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference. But even those are climbing. I remember a few days ago, those were like $1.25, and now I think the lowest when you scroll down was like $3. Like there's a couple dollars something's left, and then it's all 3+.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're right.
So I guess other people share in the this one doesn't look half bad either.
No, I like it. I actually like it. Okay, moving right along. Exciton Knight. This format is low-key Exciton Knight format in disguise. For people who don't know, this is the absolute best Xyz monster in the format. That is not debatable. This card is fucking insane. This is what took Sahabi to Worlds in 2014. He actually beat me in Top Cut. This is what makes a lot of decks broken. Like all the decks that can spam rank 4s, which I think is all of them. Like Mermails can make rank 4s easily. Geargia obviously can with just one flip of armor or accelerator or whatnot. Yeah, obviously hat decks can, fat decks can, and any other deck that you can think of that I think is really good besides maybe Prophecy can easily make Exciton Knight. This card, you have to be mindful because in this format, there's no heavy storm. So people just naturally set all their back row. Like as soon as they draw them, they just set all of them. And Exciton Knight kind of punishes that if he resolves. Now it is hard to resolve it, I won't lie, because the format is surrounded by Fiendish Chains and Breakthrough Skills and stuff like that, and Trap Trick's Nightmare, Trap Hole thing. But if you do resolve it, if you lance or whatever, you resolve this fucking card, GG Nori, he's absolutely insane. And it looks like, what's his original? Where is it? Legacy of Valiant?
All the way to the left, Legacy of the Valiant.
Okay, so this one is like $8 market price. Market price is a little shady though, because I feel like they include damage and stuff like that in there. So we'll get into that in a second. But you can get this card, which is one of the best monsters you need for the format, for $2. Looks like $2. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very cheap, very, very accessible. The secrets for all the cards that we're really going over, whenever we go to the original printing, that's when it gets wild like that, like $30 for the secret first. And that market price, if you click unlim, you're probably going to see unlims around like 8 to 12. And that's the market price takes an average of all sales no matter the condition.
Okay.
And that's what it does. So yeah, so literally 8 to 12. And then, you know, that's only a few listings, and then it's almost matching up with the with where the first was a few days ago, because I checked them when I was going through my stuff, I think Thursday, and secret firsts were only hanging around like 20, 25, and I'm like, oh, and then it's already climbing quick, which is crazy to see.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna click on some of these.
Yeah.
So Diamond Direwolf, because I didn't actually pull this up. This isn't one of the ones, but look at. Hold on, let me take the filters off. Take these filters off. Let me take the Nearman off too.
That was the other card that I had pulled to the top. Is I randomly have like a Italian secret first just hanging out, and then a couple more secret first. Just I probably have another stack of Diamond Direwolves in the other room. I just gotta go find them.
So even Diamond Direwolf is not too bad. Looks like you can get commons and super rares for under $1, but if you want the good one, it's going to cost you a little bit. We'll cover that later. And then also Castel, I forgot about this. He's in the format, right? Like Castel's in the format.
So Castel came out Duelist Alliance, so I do not believe so.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah, you can't click all versions, but let me see Castel, and I do believe that Castel was Duelist Alliance. Yep, Duelist Alliance.
Oh well. All right, that's not a part of it. I just assumed that all these cards down here were a part of the same, because I know that Blackship, Zenmaines, we'll cover those in a second, but they're all in there. So let's just move along. So Blackship Acorn, this card,
crazy that it's never gotten a common printing.
Blackship Acorn,
yeah, it's never just been like thrown in anywhere as a common. There's literally just 2 printings.
Yep, and one of them, the original, is a manga promotional item. So like, yeah, this thing is a good amount. Honestly, like I would buy one of these if I were a gambling man, I guess. And I think when we looked at, let me go back. So you can get this version of it. Now, how many were there listed? Does it show that? 11 listings. It'll show on the bottom left when you scroll down a little more. That's
11 listings.
Lot. That's not a lot of listings.
Yeah.
Oh wait, 192. Wait, hold on. That can't be right. I think we might be hold on. 11 listings. But I literally just saw 192. 192 of them. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how to read TCG Player. Help me.
So they do so it's not inventory, it's sellers. So 11 sellers have this card available. Yeah. So it's not going to go total quantity of items. It's going to go listed availability. Yeah.
Gotcha. So there's actually a shit ton of these out there.
Second to last store on the bottom there, EOT Games. Shout out to Steven at EOT Games. The shop's about an hour away from me. They're having a 3 Ulti Swap Frog Edison tournament next month if you're in Louisiana for some ungodly reason on October 5th.
Dang, that's the day of the Billie Eilish concert. I'll be at the Billie Eilish concert that day.
Oh, you're not going to fly down?
No. You know what's funny? I was considering flying to Georgia for a tournament, an Edison tournament, but the Billie Eilish concert, Billie Eyelash. I'm just gonna call it Billie Eyelash because it's easy.
Belly Eyelash.
Belly Eyelash concert is that day in Philadelphia where I live. So I'm gonna see her. She's one of my favorite artists. And anyway,
I can't blame you there.
Yeah, I love Billie. She's amazing. But
Saturday I missed Yu-Gi-Oh to go see Childish Gambino. So worth it.
Very good decision. Do not mind that at all. Yu-Gi-Oh will be around. Childish Gambino, maybe not. So, all right. This card is also a staple in the extra deck, Silent Honor ARK, so number 101. I love this card. I'm not really quite sure what I'm looking at, but then he had the C101 version that, like, I feel like the Chaos versions of them,
rank up.
They like pop out and they look all ridiculous. Anyway, this card, because it's been printed a million times, literally, it's very cheap unless you want the Ghost Rare. Like, what the fuck is this? I didn't even know this card came Ghost Rare.
So that came in the Mako Tsunami Legendary Duelist pack. That was the chase card from that set. Crazy. Well, they had some other cards for Modern and stuff. Like they were, what was it like? Oh no, I'm so stupid. Forbidden Droplet. There was a reprint of Forbidden Droplet in that set also.
Is this kind of recent, like in the 2020s? This pack came out in the 2020s?
Yeah, 2022.
Okay.
Question mark.
Yep, yeah, that sounds about right.
Somewhere around then.
So it's actually relatively recent that this came out in Ghost Rare. I don't mind it being Ghost Rare because I think extra deck cards being Ghost Rare is not criminal. Like I don't think it's that bad. I'm not a fan of Ghost Rares in my main deck, to be honest. And I prefer ultis over anything. But like, you know, we're not doing Silent Honor ARK max rarity yet. We will cover that later. But yeah, you can get this card for nothing. Like literally, there are so many listings from all these different rarities. You have no excuse on why you can't have this card. And in fact, this card doesn't even come common. It only comes in rare and higher. So
yeah, and the max gold is probably the closest you're gonna get to common, which is like a regular rare with the gold name.
Gotcha. But
yeah, everybody should have that copy of that card because Dual Devastator gave everyone everything all at once, and it was wonderful.
All right, so next up is Lavalval Chain. This toxic card that enables the Infernity deck to be ridiculous, along with Soul Charge, of course, but Lavalval Chain really makes the world go round for that deck. It can stack a card to the top, which means you can stack Archfiend. And you can also just send Archfiend to the graveyard, or Stygian Street Patrol, or anything else that you need at the time. The Heiress, I believe, is another one. But this card is actually not that cheap, no matter which one you get. And I don't think anyone really wants gold. So, like, Hidden Arsenal 7 or Dual Terminal, I know people are going to love this. Love Dual
Terminal's been going crazy.
Yeah, this card you could potentially use 3 of. In Infernity, you do use 3 of it. So like, I don't really have anything nice to say about this in terms of affordability because it's not very affordable and it's probably only going to get worse once people start to figure the format out a little bit better. But here is the regular, just secret rare Hidden Arsenal version of the card. And again, I hate that I just wish I could permanently take out, like, I never ever want to see.
If you search every card individually, one after the other, your filters will stay intact, but they do need an option to do the filters across all open windows. That would be immaculate.
Yes, like I want to be able to press a button and all of the tabs I have open just go like boom.
It just goes boom. Yeah.
Take out moderately played, take out heavily played. I'm a real Yu-Gi-Oh player. I'm not going to play with marked cards. But yeah, these are not too bad. You do need 3 of them. So, you know, get them while they're hot. If you're going to ever play Infernity, I'm talking to you, Hydro Pump. I know that you're a beloved Infernity player. There are a lot of other people who do not think this deck is that good. And I think that you are coping, but that's fine. Whether it's the best deck or not, I'm not saying that, right? Because it's like too early to say that. But this is definitely one of the best decks in the format. And it's not close. Like saying that this is not a good deck in the format is crazy. Saying it's not one of the best decks in the format is also crazy. Like honestly, like actually.
Yeah, there's there's very few decks in the format that can do what Infernity can do in one turn.
Yeah.
I feel like people are sleeping on Sylvans as well.
Ooh.
And that's another deck that I want to test a lot more. The first hat deck that I made was actually Patrick's Sylvan list from 2014 Nats.
You know, I'm going to be honest. So I was around during that time, right? Pat was right next to me in those tournaments that we played in and both topped in and stuff. I never, ever saw it for Sylvans. I always felt like you're working so hard to do like what other decks do a little bit easier or a lot easier, like how Geargia spams the field with a bunch of rank 4s. I feel like Sylvans, their ceiling is obviously higher. So when they do pop off, it's way better than like Geargia. The problem is you don't get to play a lot of the games, and I value playing the game more than I value my ceiling being that high. Like there's a trade-off for me personally, and I understand the cards look cool. The effects are actually some of the most unique in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I think the Sylvan concept, if they ever do a remake of them where they make them all broken for modern, right? Like they just make Sylvans again.
That would be great.
Yeah, they just make them insane. It's one of the coolest concepts for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. The whole excavating thing, manipulating the top cards of your deck without actually cheating. I think it's amazing. But in terms of like, I drew my 6. Can I play? That always freaked me out because I would see Patrick lose to people that I knew were not very good because they would just go like flipping armor, make an Abyss Dweller, and all of a sudden, and like a Gigant, an Abyss Dweller, and they're just like, all right, deal. And you really can't through Dweller because that card is toxic, even in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So Lavalval Chain, pretty cool card. Let me see, is Abyss Dweller? Yeah, they're not going to show it to me here. I'm going to actually type in Abyss Dweller because I didn't pull that up.
Dweller, very easily accessible, reprinted in Rarity Collection. So
oh my god,
so many. Yeah, there's so many Dwellers in that Abyss right there.
Why are there so many?
Rarity Collection, mainly it came in I think 5 or 6 different rarities. It got reprinted in the Necros set, Secret Forces, I think 2 different gold printings as well as a maximum gold. Yeah, everywhere. Original, Abyss Rising.
There's
even
so
an
many.
The original ulti is probably the prettiest and my favorite. I have a few of those that mermail enthusiast over here. But
when we do max rarity, Max Rarity
Mermails is going off.
Is so crazy. It is so unhinged. I knew that back in the day.
Max Rarity Mermail cards and like stick them on my face for that video or something.
Yeah, I can't wait. But all right, Abyss Dweller. Needless to say, you can get this card very easily. You're just gonna move on because it comes in literally a million rarities. Daigusto Emeral, one of the coolest dual terminal cards I've ever seen. I love this card in dual terminal. I actually still own a copy of it. Love it. Love Daigusto Emeral. It comes in ultra rare, like 4 or 5 other ways. So, get it while it's hot. But you can get this card for less than $1. If you want this one, since we're here, since it's in front of my face, I'm just going to pull it up for you. Okay, wait. What did I do wrong here?
Nothing. That's right.
I did something wrong. I had to. I must have a filter on, right?
No,
there has to be a filter, right? Let me see.
No.
I think English.
That's the only thing it came in was English. It's almost as bad as Lavalval Chain.
Let me refresh the page. Maybe it's bugged.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Well, I guess these are the only listings, and it's starting at $50 for a lightly played. So
I think I'm gonna go on after this video and buy that $50 copy because I just realized I don't own one of these.
Yeah, I think you only really need one of it from what I know. Maybe can you even play 2? I don't know the ban list for Hat yet. Let me just preface that. So if you're listening to me talk about Hat, I don't know the ban list yet. It's my first week ever touching this format in 10 years since 2014. So let me live. But yeah, dual terminal, $50. Did not expect that. Okay. Dracossack. This card used to be so expensive back when Dragon Rules first came out. It was like $150 at one point. And now you can get that same version for $15 market price. There's cheap ones out there, $3. It's actually not as cheap as I was expecting though. Like this card, yeah, a little bit of money. You don't need it for a lot of decks though, but you do need it if you want to play. Mermail makes it. The Lightsworn ruler deck thing that plays like that light Diabolos. There you go. Thank you. That thing, that deck makes Dracossack when depending on the situation. But yeah, this card isn't too bad. We're just gonna speed through these next couple ones.
Sylvans makes it. Sylvans also makes this.
Yep. Big Eye, one of my favorite cards, number 11. Let's see, is there anything crazy going on here? $10 for the original. The rest of them are around $3 or $4, which is actually not that cheap. But again, this is a card you don't need a lot of. So like just pay your $5 once and be done with it for the rest of the time you are playing the game.
Yeah, and a lot of people who played Modern in the last 2 years probably have a few copies of this card laying around from the Kashtira format.
Right. So yeah, whatever that is.
Some people should have this hanging out if you're like some people and you play Modern and Retro in the same breath.
Shout out to those people. Zenmaines, one of my favorite cards. I remember when this card came out. I think this was a TCG exclusive too. I feel like this is a card that we got and the rest of the world did not. It's broken as fuck. When it came out, it was like $120. Yeah, I feel like this is TCG exclusive from Photon Shockwave. I do not think that this is a card that was in the OCG originally. I could be wrong about that. You guys will 100% correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, please. I don't know either, so do let us know.
But since we're here, since it's in front of our face, just gonna take a peek, you know, just a little peek. Oh, it's not even that bad.
$20. Yeah, I mean, going to 20, but still, you know, I mean, they were $6, I think, 4 or 5 months ago, because this is one of my favorite cards for a few reasons. The main one, the only premier top that I have, my bum ass, was Nationals of 2012. And actually, I don't know if you remember, you probably do and don't. I believe last round of Swiss, I was sitting next to you. You were at like table 1 and I was at table 2.
I was at table 1 because that was when it was wind up format, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Wind Up, Dino Rabbit, and Zector. I mean, it was Wind Up because Tyler won with Wind Ups.
And I went undefeated in Swiss. They won with Wind Up and went 9-0. Yup. So
And you were one of the only other people in Top Cut playing Compulse, and I was playing Compulse and Dino Rabbit. And in my feature match, I compulsed Zenmaines on the first turn of the game 3 times in a row.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, I love Compulse and I love Zenmaines. So for some reason, I just have like oodles of these cards.
Yeah,
of both Zenmaines and Compulse.
Such a uniquely designed card too. Like it protects itself, then it does something on the end phase. Really good. Really, really good card. Moving right along, Ghostrick Alucard. Tricking on it ain't tricking if you got it. I actually like this card's art. Dracula backwards, Dracula's son, for people who don't know what Alucard is.
Did you know that Alucard backwards is Dracula?
Yep. So these are actually not cheap, like not that cheap anyway. $4 for the cheapest one that you could get. Comes ultra rare. Now I have a question for you. Does this card come ulti or something?
Yes, it does.
All right, we will cover that later. But you can get these for like $4 or something, and that's
the ulti has a different name. He's Count Hitcher from the Bacula. That's he pops 2 face downs. That's
because you paid the tax.
Yeah.
All right, number 80, Rhapsody in Berserk. This is gonna be the last card. This card is actually super cheap, obviously, if you get the rare. But if you want the super rare of it, it's gonna cost you just a little bit. $8, not too bad. This is a staple in extra decks a lot of times. So this is a DD Crow, double DD Crow actually, and a lot of decks make this against, you know, problematic things. Lightsworn, right? You could take 2 names out their graveyard. If this card was an Edison, oh my god, so good. Take out both the Treeborn Frogs, both your heroes, you know, so like value, take us. It would be so crack, but alas, it is not. This is one of the best extra deck monsters. I think this was played in Modern, like within the last 5 years too. I feel like I've seen somebody make this in Modern.
I want to say that you're correct on that, and I just can't put my finger on
when. I just feel like I've seen someone summon this thing, banish 2 cards, and then link it off to do more things, and I was like, well, that's not what he was intended to do. Like he wasn't supposed to be.
You're supposed to equip him and then attack, man. Yeah. Like what are you?
Really, really cool card, Rhapsody in Berserk. So one of the things I love about hat format, because it's not like, you know, a terrible format or anything, but one of the things I do love about it is how toolboxy the extra deck is. This is the most toolboxy extra deck. Before things got too crazy later on in Yu-Gi-Oh, this is a great time for just, this specific situation just came up where Ragna 0 is broken, or Rhapsody in Berserk is amazing, or Daigusto Emeral to put back these 3 cards and draw a card. Like there are so many situations that are like, this one Xyz crack right now. Just this one, no other Xyz will suffice for it. This specific ass Xyz is great, and I love that about the format. That's one of the cool things about it. So with that being said, guys, we're going to get out of here. Let us know what you think about the hat market watch. Do you have any really shiny hat cards that are max rarity maybe? Because we're going to be doing a market watch follow-up of max rarity hat cards that really, for those people who like just need to know how expensive things can get, and you just love expensive shit and shiny shit like me and Phil do, we're going to be coming back for you. So don't worry, but leave in the comments what you felt about this video, what you think about hat format, because it's all the rage right now. Everyone's talking about it. It's the buzz, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.